Hey guys, it's Dan here from Super Bob Hoskins Bros. Or should I say, Spooky Bob Hoskins Bros. The Barry Sonnenfeld directed Addams Family movies are firm favourites of mine. The performances are great, every character is impeccably cast, the way the visuals manage to be grey and gloomy but somehow never boring, and the humour just really lands for me. As an adaptation, these movies almost reinvented what the Addams Family were. Before this, the only real adaptations of Charles Addams' characters was the 1960s sitcom and an animated series produced in the 1970s, which people love, but neither had the dry throwaway humour of the Sonnenfeld films. And I always wished they'd got the chance to make a third film, before the tragic and untimely death of Raul Julia in 1994. But what I didn't realise growing up was, they did make a third film. And by they, I mean Saban Entertainment, the kings of direct-to-video movies. My copy even has a sticker on it saying that it's free when you buy The Little Vampire on video and DVD. What a deal! So, okay, I've heard nothing but bad things about this film. So let's keep an open mind and see what they made. We open on a postman attempting to deliver mail to the Addams house, and straight away, this is rough. This opening scene is an assault to every single one of the senses. In a way, it's impressive just how concisely they managed to showcase everything wrong with this film in the first minute. Relentless incidental music, awful CGI, and the most over-the-top acting I have ever seen. Eventually, after what feels like at least a month, the audience is introduced to Wednesday and Pudsley.
First one to score a bullseye gets to drive the mail truck.
And you might notice they look a little different to the last movie. All of the characters are portrayed by different actors, with two notable exceptions. Lurch and Thing. To be fair, I can kind of see Lurch, that actor does have a very distinct look, but Thing? Really? Really? Was nobody else's hand available? As previously mentioned, Raul Julia was sadly no longer with us, and for me, he's possibly the most irreplaceable cast member.
Come on, say it! Say the secret password!
But then you hear that Tim Curry is taking over the role, and it does kind of make sense.
We all know what a proud honour it is for us to carry the Addams family name.
Ultimately though, it doesn't work. And I think that's because there seems to be this weird mix going on here of actors who are trying to make the roles their own.
Oh boy, this is great!
And some who kind of just wind up performing impressions of the previous iterations.
I want to go home.
Please, Wednesday, give it a chance. A resort this size is sure to have plenty of skeletons in its closet.
And these two approaches just fail to blend. So Fester's making a dog for Pudsley's birthday.
You know, Pudsley's birthday's coming up. Well, what does every little boy need? No? That's right! A vicious attack dog!
That can transform into 40% of the budget on command. And Gomez is excited about a book that's just arrived, apparently containing the complete history of the Addams family, which he apparently ordered from a company called Family Tree Publications, who also arrange family reunions. Listen, I'll buy the possessed front gate and sentient postbox. But Ancestry.com doing all that? No. So they send away a check for the family reunion service, and then, out of literal nowhere, Gomez and Fester's grandparents arrive for a visit.
Grandmother! What a wonderful surprise. When Fester and I heard you were coming, we almost died of shock.
I just wish someone had told me. What's happening?
Oh, Mortimer, look at the little ones. They're so pale and misbehaved.
That's Mrs. Potato Head playing the grandmother.
I'm packing you an extra pair of shoes and your angry eyes, just in case.
Let's go inside. Quick, before you catch warm.
Before too long, though, they start to act strangely, taking up gardening, dancing, and just generally behaving normally. Fester looks it up in a book, which seems more like something Granny would have done to me, and identifies the condition as something called Walzheimer's. And they decide to go to the reunion, hoping someone there will be able to help.
Yes, baby. We have a talented witch doctor in the family.
My good man, now you're thinking.
Something that kind of bothers me straight away with Addams Family Reunion is if you look at the Sonnenfeld films, the scripts are littered with throwaway lines.
He has my father's eyes.
Gomez, take those out of his mouth.
This worked because the characters, while cartoonish and bizarre, were played completely straight, and that's what made them funny.
Isn't he a lady killer?
Acquitted.
In Addams Family Reunion, though, every attempt at a joke is highlighted, underlined, and even when a joke does land, it's flogged to death. Like when a little kid makes you laugh by accident, and then won't stop doing the thing over and over again. A reliably funny scenario in both the Addams Family and Addams Family Values is when you take the Addamses out of their natural habitat and place them in ordinary environments, pairing them with ordinary people, which highlights their abnormal nature to comedic effect. And you think that's what's going on when Jennifer Coolidge mixes up the invites and the family arrive at the wrong reunion, whoa! But it doesn't really work when the ordinary people are all just as cartoonish as the Addamses.
Please, spare me the choir boy act.
I know for a fact you've been poisoning Daddy.
One of them, played by Ed Begley Jr., is actively poisoning his father so he can get his inheritance money faster. I don't know what the rush is, he's a successful doctor, but anyway, Gomez approaches him for help with his grandparents' condition and winds up partaking in various wages in exchange for the doctor's medical opinion.
This is boring.
Then we see the relatives that the Addamses were mixed up with arriving outside the Addams mansion, where their car fails in the rain, and they're left with no choice but to knock and ask if they can use the phone.
Look, I'm really sorry we interrupted your game, but we really need to use your phone.
We're both in a bit of a hurry.
Right.
I feel like all I'm doing in this video is talking about the other Addams Family films, but I can't help it. They are emulated at virtually every opportunity. Pudsley has a crush on the misfit nerdy girl because Wednesday had a crush on the misfit nerdy boy in the other films. Gomez and Morticia do an elaborate dance. There's a married couple who argue and think the Addamses are strange because that happens in the other films. Also, the dynamics between the family themselves are just strange. And whereas in the other films, the Addams family felt like a family, here, they don't feel like anything. Fester barely interacts with anyone else for the runtime of the movie, and honestly, I have no idea what he's doing in this film. He's just there, which feels especially out of place given that in the previous two films, he was the character that drove the plot. As you can probably gather from just looking at the screen right now, the production of Addams Family Reunion was a mess. According to the director David Payne, any and all original ideas were heavily restricted in favour of ripping off the previous films or the series. So what were his ideas? I don't know. Could they have been worse than this? I hope not. So much is going on, and yet nothing is happening. And then you check the time, and there's only 10 minutes left. The dog that Fester was making for Pudsley's birthday and spends the whole movie chasing around, Pudsley never receives, and his birthday is never mentioned again. The doctor that Gomez has a series of competitions with never examines the grandparents, whose plot point is figuratively and literally left behind.
It pains me so that we had to put them in a hole.
The old man's inheritance turns out to have nothing to do with anything. The couple who broke down in front of the house just leave again. Everybody just goes home and then it ends. Not a single loose end is tied up, and you wonder to yourself, what was the story of that 90 minutes I'll never get back? So what did I like? Well, I liked the bit where they're packing to leave and Ledge is just casually putting a body bag in the boot of the car. I like that the doorbell screams. There are a few instances of well-delivered throwaway lines.
Do you realize that the groundskeeper would likely skin you alive if he caught you disturbing their place of eternal rest?
Yes, Mother.
Well, go on then, run along.
And I did kinda like Gomez and the Doctor's escalating competition.
Philip once played on the pro tennis circuit. Is your husband any good?
I'm not sure. I don't think he's ever played this game before.
I've been a fan of the Addams Family and Addams Family Values for as long as I can remember. So going into this movie, it was with what I'd consider to be a healthy degree of skepticism. Still, I wanted to give it a fair chance, and I think I did that. And having reviewed the film from every angle, I now know exactly how I feel about it. Addams Family Reunion is shit. Happy Halloween!